welcome back. I'm your host, Veteran Mountain Man, and it's time to talk about the bump stock fire controversy. Now, what I have here in my left hand is a standard AR receiver. Okay, now as you can see, there's nothing special about this receiver. It does have an adjustable buttstock, but that's because my fixed buttstock one is currently out for some additional upgrades and maintenance. I would have used it otherwise. Now, in a traditional AR receiver, or even an AK receiver, your buttstock, which the buttstock actually starts right here on this, is usually one piece or one motioning piece. You usually have an attachment point to your lower receiver, and your grip is separate. Now, in a bump stock configuration, this piece here and the grip, your pistol grip, are all one piece. And you have an additional buffer spring that sits lower down so that the stock and pistol grip can slide back and forth in the chassis. Now, this allows you to increase the rate of fire slightly through the motion of the weapon and the use of your forehand, that's your non-firing hand, on the front grip, pulling the weapon back into your shoulder and reseating the hammer. This doesn't make a weapon automatic. An automatic weapon, you're not going to be moving the foregrip at all. They rock and roll all on their own. All you got to do is push that trigger and hold on. And the truth is that this ban has been performed through the action of administrative rule. It is actually redefining what it means to be an automatic weapon. And I feel that this is a slippery slope, and the administration should not have taken this tactic. If anything, we need to stop this. So if you support the actions of bump stocks, or if you just support the Second Amendment, it would be best to help fight against this redefinitioning of an automatic weapon, because in the actual press release and in the actual new administrative rule, they talk about it allows it to simulate an automatic weapon. Well, the thing is the assault weapon ban of the 1960s and the 1980s did not include the word simulate. It defined an automatic weapon as a very simple thing. You squeeze the trigger, and it keeps cycling. Not you squeeze the trigger and rock the forearm and the trigger is reset and you can fire again. That is not what the definition of an automatic weapon was. And while I will admit bump stocks will drastically increase the rate of fire of a semi-automatic weapon, they're mostly novelties. Most people don't use them. Realistically, even in a situation where I would want to use my rifle in a serious defensive capability, or feeling that I needed to use it to, fight in a civil war or something of that nature, I'm not going to use a bump-stocked weapon. Or if I am, I'm going to disable the bump stock feature, turn it off, disengage it. And the reason being is because it takes a lot of focus and effort away from your shooting skills to operate that bump stock. Now, I'm sure there are some guys out there who have practiced with it enough and are going to say, well, no, it really doesn't. Well, for the average shooter and even for the average combat vet, they would actually have to focus on operating that bump stock for quite some time before they could actually use it effectively in those kind of scenarios, and it would just make more sense not to even bother. Now, also a reason that this is becoming dangerous is because this is going to give the ATFE the ability to administratively disallow all sorts of alterations to weapons, including simple things like this. This is commonly known as an adjustable stock. Now, my little sister loves this feature on this particular AR because for her, this is too far to comfortably reach. She needs it about here to comfortably reach the entirety of the chassis and to operate the weapon safely. I, on the other hand, prefer mine out here. All this allows you to do is to adjust to a better firing position for the individual. This, by the way, is one of those features that Nancy Pelosi wants to use to define something as an assault weapon and ban them. This right here. Something that's used for the comfort of a firer on a weapon. Now, another thing that they will probably now try to push is the barrel shroud concept. That if your barrel has a shroud on it, that it's an assault weapon. Now, yeah, this looks kind of scary. Do you know what this actually does? It allows me to continue shooting more than one shot at a time. Because what this is actually a heat shield. If you look inside, you can see the metal plate in there behind the plastic that keeps the heat from directly touching my hand. That is all it does. And as for the idea that semi-automatic weapons are the same as automatic weapons, they really are not. And this is really more propaganda that's been spread by crazy people who don't actually understand what it is that they're talking about. Now, am I saying that weapons aren't dangerous? No. Firearms are dangerous. Make sure that you have the appropriate training with your firearms. Make sure that you understand how to use them and operate them safely. Know how to know that they're loaded, how they're unloaded, what to do to make them safe for storage, what to do to make them safe for transport. Those are all important, key, integral acts of owning firearms. But the idea that a modification to the stock turns the weapon into a machine gun, it really doesn't, and we shouldn't be standing for this. This is not what we asked for when we elected President Trump and asked him to put conservatives into office to administrate the government, and yet we have administrative overreach occurring even here. So we will definitely have to start looking at the fact that we might have to stand up a little bit against even our own elected officials, who we were hoping would do the right thing. It appears that you can't always count on them to, as I have said before. So if you're like me and you think that this is foolish, it's time to stand up and speak up. There is a class action lawsuit going forward to punish the ATFE and stop this unconstitutional ban. As I have said before, this is being done with an administrative rule, people. The current law dictates that a squeeze of the trigger causes continuous mechanical cycle of the weapon. And that's how they define a machine gun or a machine pistol. And a bump stock is not such a critter. It is not a sear, which will create an automatic fire effect. It just allows you to rapidly cycle the weapon beyond its manufactured cycling times. And even then, it's only fractionally above those cycling times. Mostly what it does is it eliminates the thought-to-finger barrier for pressing the trigger again by allowing you to use your offhand to rapidly cycle the weapon. But it is still one trigger press, one round, no matter what speed it's going at. Thank you all again for joining me. Please don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube or thumbs up and subscribe on BitChute. Also, don't forget I'm on Gab, Minds, and Twitter. You can follow me in all those locations. I haven't deactivated my Patreon just yet, but I'm looking at doing that sometime this weekend because I don't like the politics that are going on there. And I'm going to look at other options for you to be able to contribute. But I do have a Streamlabs down below, which you can go ahead and contribute to because my account there should be functional. Thank you all again, and have yourselves a beautiful day.